Yes, I said it. We are told to love ourselves first, but what if that's not the whole truth? In today's video, I'll tell you and show you how true self love isn't just about the self, it's also about connection, reflection, and divine alignment. Welcome to my channel. I'm Rachel Alexander. If you're new here, I'm an artist and Mosaic Soul mentor. And I really want to talk about how oftentimes I feel like this self love theme agenda is a little bit overplayed and um, overrated, mainly because oftentimes, the self love hype that's going on has often been framed as this solo journey, which leads to isolation, pressure, and self criticism. And it can also lead to a selfishness or even just a sense of you have to journey this alone. And all honestly, people can oftentimes get stuck in cycles of self-help or always feeling like they need to fix themselves, before they can actually experience love. Like they have to be perfect before they actually experience divine love. And the truth of the matter is, we don't learn in silos, and you don't really experience love in a silo. You actually experience love in tandem with other beings, right? Because we are individuated in these physical human beings. Yes, you can feel the love that you are, and you can feel the energetic energy of love, which is in essence who you truly are. But a lot of times we don't get there through just, you woke up one day and you just felt the love that you are. A lot of times we learn through either lack of receiving, not receiving love and affection from others, or actually receiving it from others or seeing other people model it. And so a lot of times, this idea of self-love being like this, self-made journey is often very false and can create a false narrative that you have to do it alone, that you have to journey alone, or that, if you don't love yourself, or being in partnership, if you want to be in a partnership or a union with another person, then you don't love yourself kind of energy. And this sort of hyper independent society that's kind of becoming very prominent in our society is really damaging to a lot of us, because a lot of us are missing the natural community and connection that we all desire as human beings. That's who we are. And so this isolationist society that's happening because of colonialization, because of technology, because of these different, hidden messages or blatant messages at this point about individuality, hyper, independence, self-love, master self-love, and stuff like that. A lot of times these things can be detrimental to us because we are stuck in these self cycles of, just trying to do it all by ourselves. And I'll give you an example. I was definitely in that mode for a while, getting out of, I would say, just a challenging, toxic, sort of what people label as toxic relationship. And truly, what helped me open my eyes is really just getting support, not just this year, but I've been getting support for a long time, but really tapping back into a healthy and having the intention of creating a more healthy environment of loving friends and supportive people who are healthy and actively working to become their better selves, their higher selves, being the light beings that we are, the light workers, and being more positive around positive minded people, and getting support that I needed in the form of therapy, in the form of, coaching, in the form of, just tapping into my friend circle and stuff like that. It made such a huge difference, and is continuing to make such a huge difference in the world. We are not built in silos. Even the most loners of us, raising my hand, I'm like truly one of the biggest loners ever. But I'm recognizing how valuable friendship, camaraderie, connection, and reflection and alignment with other human beings gives you, sort of reflects back to you your own divinity. And without that, it's sort of like it's hard for us to see mirrors. That's why there's so much beauty in partnership, there's so much beauty in unions, whether that's, platonic unions or intimate unions, whatever, friendships, or, lovers, whatever. There's so much beauty in connection and community, communing with others. And so if we learn to love through relationships and not just isolation, it can really expand us a lot quicker than when we self isolate, you know? And as divine, infinite beings, gods and goddesses that we are, we can learn to thrive through connections such as mentors, partners, friendships, and community, right? So, for example, like one of the things that has happened for me recently is like last year I really started to reconnect with a really good friend of mine that I had since high school. It's not that we really became estranged, but we just kind of stopped talking a little bit off and on, or we would only talk every like 3, 4 months, right? And now, like that we've reconnected, we're talking like a lot more throughout the week, you know, weekly, basically almost every other day. And it's very refreshing, and it's so lovely to be able to witness my friend's journey and to have them witness my journey as well. And it's such a beautiful and evolution and connection, because we're journeying this thing called life together and being able to reflect back to one another, our own individual expressions and our own individual challenges, and being able to lean upon one another and be able to see different aspects and learn from each other, you know, and learning different perspectives, you know. And it's like you really don't get that by yourself, you know. And I've learned that as well ever since also getting, you know, I've gone through coaching before, but even just getting a therapist as well. And I'm gonna do another video on another tool that's really been helping, but I'm not gonna get into that. But just tuning in and tapping into having other people mirror yourself back to you is so powerful, because it helps you to, I don't want to say level up. I feel like that word is overused, but level up, for lack of a better word, in different ways that allows us to tap into what is essentially who our souls came to be, you know, to explore the various different things that we have come to explore and step into and expand into, you know. And sometimes without having external people, without having connections and stuff like that, we can get trapped in the same loop of continuing to manifest the same thing over and over and over, right? Let's say if you keep manifesting unhealthy relationships over and over, maybe it's because you've, every model in your life up until that point has been of a negative caliber. And so you've decided, okay, well, I'm going to go on this self-love journey. Definitely important. It's definitely important to have isolation. I'm not saying that isolation and being in hermit mode, if you study the tarot and, you know, taking your four swords type of energy and taking that reprieve, is definitely healthy. But I would encourage you to also make sure that you don't get stuck in that cycle, and that you listen to the call of your heart and your soul when you feel that urge to have community, when you feel that urge to have, you know, friendship and partnership, because it's there for your evolution. We learn from each other, you know what I mean? And by doing that, it helps us to more fully step into our power, right? And grow that much more quicker, right? It's like, especially in the time, in the age of intelligence, in the age of learning that we're in the age of like being able to have instant access to information, like transformation doesn't happen in silo, right? Like a lot of times we learn from each other, you know. There's so much that I'm learning from my best friend that I don't think I would have learned, and it feels like it's rapidly accelerating my growth in a way that I haven't experienced in a while, you know, like in a specific area of my life. And it's like, wow, like I miss this feels really good, you know. So being able to mirror others, you know, helps us to see ourselves more clearly and embody higher versions of ourselves, right? So let's say, you know, going back to the relationship example, you end up making friends with someone who has really good healthy relationship, and they model for you what a healthy partnership looks like. Then in your mind you can start to, you know, if that's something that your soul wants, because not everybody wants to be in union, which is perfect fine. But let's say that is something that your soul wants, you can then start to be like, oh, okay, well, this is an example or a blueprint. This is not the blueprint, but this is a possible blueprint of what a healthy union or relationship looks like in this form of fashion, right? Or let's say, you know, you've always struggled with, you know, your weight, or you've always struggled with your health, and all of a sudden, you make friends with someone who's really into fitness and health and eating healthy and clean, and then you start to see, oh, that's how they do it. And I remember having that effect on a few of my friends in my 20s and stuff like that, when I was just always eating and just living with certain people, and it's just them being around me. It's not even that I was preaching about it, just them being around me and in my energy, they started losing weight, they started getting fit, because I just naturally do certain things that keeps my body healthy and fit. And so naturally they just started reflecting that energy in their own lives. So you want to start surrounding yourself with a circle of people who reflect the type of energy that you want, because it's really powerful, right? And so I really want to encourage you to understand the true path of self love and divine power. And the solution is really to reframe self love as an expansive journey, one where we allow love in rather than just giving it to ourselves, right? Less let love come from you. You are love. Of course, we are all divine, infinite beings, fractals of source, right? Fractals of what some call God, right? And of course, love emanates from who we are, but we're still having this human experience. We're still in this fallen planet, if you will, right? We're still on this planet of contrast, right? And so, in order to remind ourselves, in order to still feel connected because of the human journey and how humans are innately built, we're innately built, even if you think of soul groups and if you want to get into spirituality and that, we come from ancestors, we have lineage, we have all these things, we come from this long line of energetic beings that we're all connected to each other. Essentially, we're all one, but right now we're fragmented, right? And so us coming back together helps us to see different perspectives that we wouldn't otherwise get on our own. And this kind of reminds me of a conversation I was having with a loved one who's younger than me, right? And they were going on and ranting and raving about how they don't need anybody and they don't value, friendships or family, and they don't see the value in it. And it kind of broke my heart, because it was really a reflection of um, the climate that's going on in our world, and this sort of agenda of this hyper individualism, where everyone's so connected and addicted to their phones, and their phone is their new best friend, right? AI is their new best friend, that they rather have AI in their phone than an actual human to human connection, like if they were given the choice to choose their mother or the phone, they choose their phone. Like, that's insane to me, right? Like this world, that like this kind of programming, subliminal programming that's going on, and so I want to encourage you to reframe self-love as a one that can include community, connection, love, in union, in various different ways of union, divine spiritual unions. And unions doesn't always have to be love relationships in terms of intimacy or husband and wife, but it or husband and wife, it could be friendships as well. And so I think, or family and stuff like that. And stepping into our divine power and accepting love, support, and reflection that others offer really helps us to step in. It's really embody our divinity that much quicker, right? When you're on your own and you're trying to figure out life is so much harder, right? But now that we have technology, now that we have someone else to tell us that they went around the corner and there was a lion and a bear and a tiger, we could know, okay, don't go around that corner, maybe we should go up the street then around the corner, because there's not a tiger on that next corner, right? But if we don't have nobody to tell us, or we don't have people to like reflect back to us or mirror back to us what's necessary, available, or what's possible for us, then we kind of get stuck in the same loop, and we keep going around the same corner, getting eaten and chased by tigers and bears, right? So bear with my examples, right? So you don't have to do this alone. True self-love includes letting yourself be loved, So I want to invite you, if you are ready to stop feeling stuck in self-love loops and truly align with your divine power, I really want to help you. And I would really encourage you to sign up for my alignment session. And in this session, we'll really uncover what's blocking you from fully stepping into love, support, and your higher self, so you can finally embody the divine being that you are. And the truth is, like, you deserve to experience love. You deserve to experience true expression of who you truly are in this form, right? So, not just from yourself, but also from the universe, from others, and from life itself, right? So, if that is something that you're looking forward to, then definitely visit my website at divineearthschool.com/align. I'll link that link in the description box below. And I hope that you guys are start to embrace this new idea of self-love not being siloed. You don't have to be siloed to have self love, right? Like another thing that I wanted to point out that I forgot to mention is that a lot of times, sometimes one of the things that we don't understand is that self love can be taught through other people. Let's say that you struggle with self love, but let's say you meet a friend or you meet a partner or whatever, and they actually show you, they actually love you and they actually see something in you that you can't see in yourself. They can actually mirror back to you your own qualities by, either words of affirmation or just being in the energy of embodying a certain frequency that you think that you don't embody. But by being around this person, you recognize that, oh, I have that quality too. And so you start to step more fully into that quality yourself, right? But if we think that self-love is a solo journey or a siloed journey, we can often miss the golden nuggets that happens from connection with other human beings. You see what I'm saying? And so that's why it's super powerful to understand that self-love isn't just a, oh, I gotta love myself and love only comes from me and I don't need nobody kind of energy, because there is beauty in connection. We learn and grow from each other, and we can and grow with each other, right? And it can be this beautiful dance of synergy and symbiotic relationships that is healthy, right? It doesn't always, like, I feel like we are in this climate of like massive distrust. We're in this climate of massive, like, hyper independence, massive, like, you know, don't need nobody kind of energy, that a lot of us are hurting. A lot of us are still addicted to things that no longer serve us. A lot of us are in cycles and stuck in cycles and loops that really no longer serve us, and we deserve better. And I think a lot of us needing to understand that we can reframe self-love and like take it out of this hyper independent state that it's in right now, that's creating all this disjunction and suicide still skyrocketing even in this time of massive awakening, massive spiritual tools and other tools that we have at our disposal. People are still taking themselves out because we're not tapping into the tools that are naturally here and effortlessly here. It's like we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, right? When I think about different religions and when I think about certain things that old traditions had, I think in this society where a lot of this new generation, my generation and millennials, and even the generation younger than me, the generation even prior to me, is kind of throwing out the baby with the bathwater. I even had another loved one say, if I were you, I wouldn't be in a rush to get in a relationship. If I were you, I wouldn't be in a rush to be in union with anybody. People are crazy out here. You can't really trust nobody. And I was just like if people, and this person is older than me, and people are in the generation X, talking about this, or people in millennials talking about this, all the way to the new people in their in their teens, you clearly the mass climate of awareness is like, this is what's going on, and we really have to reevaluate this, because the path that we're on is definitely leading to higher rates of suicide, higher rates of diseases, and all stress and all this other stuff, stress related diseases and health related diseases that don't need to exist, because we're siloing ourselves. We are becoming too hyper independent, and we're not tapping into our innate divine connection that we have in being in these individuated bodies. If we wanted to just experience the love that we are all by our lonesome selves, we would have stayed in just spirit form and just experienced the oneness all the time, right? But we came here to have this individuated human experience so that we could rediscover what it feels like to be source in human form. And a lot of times how we rediscover that is through other people, right? Like even when my spiritual awakening started at the age of 18, that's what sparked by a spiritual teacher at the church that I was going to at the time. We were studying a book, and at the time he introduced us to a whole different way of thinking at that time, and that sparked a whole spiritual awakening within me. And if he didn't teach that, how would I have even started that journey, right? And that led me down this rabbit hole of just discovering more and more about spirituality and discovering more and more about who I truly am. But it didn't just start with me. I mean, it can start with you, but I'm just saying, a lot of times we learn from each other, and we look for other people to affirm us, and look for other people to validate our experiences voices, or to be like, oh, you're not alone. And that is innate within our human experience. And I want to invite us to embrace that rather than to push it away and look at it as a weakness or vulnerability that you can't afford to have, versus it being like, no, it's safe to be vulnerable. Yes, we are fallible. Being human means that we are fallible, but we are also source, God made manifest in human form. We are also gods and goddesses. So we have the potential to be the highest version of ourselves, which means that we also have the potential to be divine in the way that we connect with one another, to look at ourselves and to forgive each other, and to evolve and grow with one another, right? Life doesn't always have to be watch your back, there's deception, backstabbers all around. Like, it doesn't always have to be you got to be on guard all the time, you know what I mean? Being in your nine of wands type energy, for those of you who study tarot, right? For those of you who study tarot also, it's sort of the seven of swords energy, right? It's about understanding that you don't have to be in that energy, and that we can trust each other and be in community and communion with one another. And there's beauty in that. Like, I find my life to be so much more fulfilling and filled with joy now that I have more of a support system that I didn't have just a year ago. You know what I mean? Having more friends and loved ones and support, and by way of friends, um, mental health support and family and stuff like that, is fulfilling and enriching my life in a way that I didn't even know that I missed. So I definitely want to encourage you once again, if you are looking for more support, visit me at divineearthschool.com/align to book your alignment session. Either way, feel free to join my community here at rachaelalexander.com/join. I would love to have you join the Mosaic Souls community. And I hope that you are doing well, that you're taking care of yourself as we move into this spring season. And as always, flow with what feels good and let go of what doesn't, because you are divine. You are a divine being, and your soul knows exactly what you come to explore and experience while on this planet. So remember, what you conceive is what you receive, what you expect is what you'll get, and however you feel is what will become real for you. So vibrate higher, and I will chat with you guys next time. Peace, love, and light.